my name is Pip Francis, and this is my pitch. So I decided to do my story on Wildwood dancing, which is actually a book that was written by Juliet Marilla, and she's actually an Australian author. The platform that I kind of see it in is a feature film rather than TV series. The TV series I did think about, but I just don't think it has enough cliffhangers in it to really keep the audience going. And I think also the target audience will relate better to a feature film, which we can go into later. So I split it up into story, target audience, and details. So story, logline, Jenna and her sisters find a portal to another kingdom, but soon learn that they will need to fight to keep their land and friends safe from the grasp of their cousin. So the context is really interesting, so I added it in, but Transylvania in like the 1800s, 1900s, I think that's a rare kind of context and one that's kind of cool. Plot, as you can see, it's really big, so I'm going to try and cut it down as much as I can. So Jenna is a protagonist, 17 years old, and she finds a portal into another kingdom, and that's just like kind of the forest around them is able to like access their, kind of cool kingdom there. Gogu, she finds this frog, and it becomes a friend and kind of sits on her shoulder for like 10 years, and they have this beautiful relationship. While all of this is happening, Caesar, their cousin who lives next door, he decides he wants to try and take over their estate and take over their land, and so cut down the forest. And Jenna isn't okay with that, and neither is really the girls. So they obviously fight for that, but it's not until Jenna kisses her frog, which turns into a man, and it's a whole Prince Charming thing, that she really, that everything really changes. So find out that the frog was actually her other cousin who was apparently drowned in a pond years before, and he comes back and gets angry at his brother and says, "What are you doing? You can't be here. You can't do this." And Jenna and Costi, who's the frog, become engaged. So that's like the beautiful romantic ending. Again, that's cut into very small pieces. Themes, man versus nature. There's the whole thing of like the whole thing of like the trying to take over the forest thing, and it's obviously man versus nature, and it's Caesar versus nature, and Jenna is not okay with that, as I said, and the girls aren't really okay with that, so there's this constant fight between them. Man versus himself. Caesar is really cut up because he believes that he was the one that killed his oldest brother, and so you can see the internal dilemma that just keeps happening in him and the anger that comes out because of that. Overcoming monster is obviously Caesar. There's some other stuff about quests in there as well. Rebirth is obviously the frog turning back into the man. Audience. So target audience, I see it as girls, women. You know, it could kind of be both. Age 5 and up. I would love it if it was G-rated. I feel as if maybe there'll be some sort of like blood in it, so maybe it will have to be PG, but I really think that films have lost their innocence, and I get really grumpy at that. So 4 quadrants, women and girls under 25 probably, but at the same time, the more I think about it, grandmothers and mothers are going to want to take their daughters to these kind of films, and so in the end they're probably going to be the ones watching them as well. Genre, so fantasy, adventure, romance, supernatural, and historical. It's really interesting because Juliet Marilla really goes into the history of Transylvania and the cultural myths that's around it, and so there's vampires and stuff like that, and it's really quite clever. Story arc, so as I said, it's the whole like looking after nature. It's the whole like, why wouldn't you look after nature? And I think that's a really clever way of looking at it. It's not throwing it in your face being like, these are the reasons we must look after nature. It's just like, why wouldn't you? And I think that really relates to kids because they're not going to be the ones that are really arguing A or B. They're going to be the ones that just kind of go, but what? Why not? You know? So details. Why me? Why do I want to make it? Because I love the story. The book got me into books, and I'm not really a book reader. I'm more of a watch the movies than read the books. And I realised that they haven't made a movie, and I think that's really sad. So I'd like to do that. How it can be made. I really see it, particularly as the other kingdom, as being like full of 3D animation, full of this like other world and the beauty of it. And I have a few friends that are in animation and a few in set design and costume design and stuff like that. And so I'm kind of trying to gather all these people together so that one day, if I have the budget, I'll be able to actually make this film, and hopefully an Australian one that really promotes animation as well, because I think that Australia's got a lot to offer in that area, but you know, other than Happy Feet and Happy Feet 2, it hasn't really done that much with it. Anyway, that's my pitch. I hope you like it. Wildwood Dancing